Hello and welcome. Oh wait, they had already muted. I mean, that's okay now. And today I learned. I was just typing in. I wrote something to someone in a text. And I put TIL. Or like TIL. Like today I learned. Not everyone is as hip and cool guy as I am, I guess. Hello, I'm Warren. Welcome to the stream, the big Monday night stream. It's Monday. So it's time for a Monday night stream here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. How are you doing? How's everybody doing? It's been a little while. Did you miss me? Because I missed you. Yeah. All right, no more texting during the stream. It's all settled. It's all set. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a little while, but you know, it was for good reasons. It was for very good reasons. The good reasons being, I had family in town. So there you go. Yeah, there's compromises sometimes that need to be made. That's all there is to it. And the compromise here is that I was just gonna be away for a couple of days. But you know what? Like, I feel like moving into the colder seasons, I would assume that there will be less people coming knocking at my door. But yeah, I am not making any guarantees. I am not making any guarantees. But for the foreseeable future, I don't see me missing any streams due to outside interference. If I don't schedule a stream, it's because I'm doing wrestling related stuff. Like on Monday, like this upcoming Monday. That's going to be a case, right? Or will it be? Because I'm having this thought right now. Because next Monday, this coming Sunday is the All In show, but it's happening in Wembley Stadium in London, meaning that the show is in the afternoon. So I'm thinking maybe I could do my review on Sunday. Maybe I could review it on Sunday, because usually, right, when the pay-per-views are on the Sunday, I review the next day. Well, I always review the next day regardless. But maybe I could do that. Maybe I could do my review on the Sunday evening and then get that all together, and then it's out, and then I don't have to skirt on the Monday stream, which I think is a good idea. I think it'd be a good idea. I just might do that. I'm gonna put a little more brain power into that. I'm gonna make sure all my ducks are in a row, all lined up in a row. Also, you know, you just got to make sure everything's okay. Yeah, but I had a lovely time. I had family over. Just an incredible, nice, relaxing time. I had both my kids, and we did a couple of things, but we mostly, like, the more interesting stuff I find is that we played board games. We're big board game aficionados, and we ended up playing. We ended up sticking with one board game called Eternal Decks. And if you have your Google apparatus at hand right now, if you can just like pop in and out or whatever, or open a new tab, or however it is you're fixed up, look for Eternal Decks game. And I bought that at the hobby shop like a few months ago because I was compelled by the art, and then I went to see its rating on Board Game Geek, and it was over 8. I think it was an 8.3 when I saw it, or something like that. I was like, and that doesn't happen very often on the Board Game Geek. It's not, it's not like drop kicked. Hang on. Well, let me. It's not like Dave. It's not like Daveflation, where everything that is in fact a 3-star match suddenly becomes a 4 1/4, 4.5 star match. The people who frequent the Board Game Geek website, they're very serious about their board games, and that was very high. Then that's unusually high. So the art and the high rating together, incited me to purchase it, and boy, did I not regret it. That it is an incredible game. It's a game. It's a collaborative game. You work together. It's a deck. It's kind of like a deck builder. It's really hard to explain. It's kind of like a deck builder, puzzle solving game that everyone sort of works together on. It's a collaborative game, and it's difficult. Like, you have to want to play with people who are into puzzle games, who like doing escape rooms, that kind of stuff. It's not an escape room. It's not like an escape room, but I'm saying like more like people who like to break apart that kind of stuff. And I was very excited about that. I was very excited, and we tried it, and it is so good. Like, it is tremendous. And I highly recommend it. But you really have to have people around you who are ready to think about paths and thoughts to sort of get, how can we all work together to get to a certain, to hit the objectives and do this, that. Well, what if you do this? And it was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Just a tremendous game. I highly recommend it. Eternal Decks from your hobby shop. Put that on your kitchen table and have a good time. Yeah, that's all we played. That's all we ended up playing. And I've got a slew of board games. I've got very, very good board games. Trouble and Payday and The Candyland. And Eternal Decks, that's the one. No, but that's it. Like, it was really fun. We played 3-4 games, something like that. Trust me. And if anything, you can just pull out the cards and just like ogle at the art. It's a gorgeous game. But during a break, the three of us were sitting around. I was like, who came up with this game? Like, who designed this game? Because it's so, the mechanics are extremely deep. Like, who designed this? And it's some Japanese company I'd never heard of. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I think it's Trickster Games. I think that's what it is. Trickster Games. Anyway, it's excellent. It's absolutely excellent. Sure beats playing Catan over and over again. Oh, Catan is good. Catan is always good. Settlers of Catan, that's always fun. It's always a fun game. I've got the Binding of Isaac board game too, which is pretty cool. That's that's another in-depth one. We've got a bunch of them. I'm trying to think, but then you got your easy ones. You get, well, not your easy ones, but your ready to play ones like Uno or Sushi Party is Go. Is that it? Sushi Party Go, I think, which is a bunch of fun too. I only play fun games. If it's not a fun game, it gets put back up on the Craigslist. Do I use Craigslist? Well, that's for me to know and for you to find out. But hey, I hope everyone is having a lovely day, and also had a lovely weekend, a lovely Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, since I wasn't around. But it's nice to see you, Travis. AW1, welcome. Nice to see you and welcome. Yeah, the second track. I appreciate that a lot of you are appreciating the new music rotation that I've put in. I put, quite frankly, I put a lot more research to these. I put on my DJ cap on a little more. I was like, oh no, let's get, you know. I particularly like this one that's playing right now. It was the theme that I used for the for my G1 coverage this year. I was like, I'll throw it into the rotation. The G1 coverage is going to be done. I really like this one. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Meggie O'Kenna, nice to see you. Welcome, Meggie. Hey, both Travis and Meggie, by the way, are members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. I just changed the oil and air filter in my car. Funny you have one filter that does both. That must be, is it German engineering? Enjoy a cigar and bourbon while in a bubble bath listening to Mr. Warren Hayes. TMI, brother, but I'm glad you're having a lovely evening. I need the doorway that says scram. Oh yeah, to get rid of the family. Yeah, no, they'll think I'm being ironic. And then they'll come more often. DJMC, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat, brother. Also a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. If you ever miss a stream, you can always depend on me to pick up the slack. That's fine. DJ Convoy, nice to see you as well, brother. Also a member of the channel. My brother in God, you don't have to justify missing a stream. No, but you know, it's, you know, you know, the important thing is that, you know, I'm not going to go too deep into things, you know, but you know, there's a certain level of sharing that happens here. You know, create connections and whatnot. I don't feel like I have to explain it, but you know, don't feel like, you know, I'm just like, hey, you know. And then setting the expectation for the future. It's like, no more missed streams until I start missing streams. Jay Luthi, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Also a member. Look at all these members. That sounded weird. The Wembley Stadium show is the day before I have to go back to teaching for the school year. Well, at least it's in the afternoon, right? Nice afternoon show, and then you can go, you have a nice nap. Like, no one will complain about the show being too long, at least in North America, right? No one's going to complain about that, right? No one's going to complain about the show being too long in North America because it's in the afternoon, right? Right? Everyone's going to be okay with it, right? They're all going to be okay with the fact that the show just might be very long, but since it's in the afternoon, no one's going to complain, right? Right? Nice to see you, Jay Luffy. Also nice to see William Davis. Holy cow, nice to see you. Welcome. Also member of the channel. Long time no see on the channel. Was I talking about Big Walk? No, I haven't played Big Walk. It looks tremendous. I don't have a gaming, a solid online gaming group, but it does look fun as hell. That's right up my alley as far as games go. Just like very dopey stuff, you know, interact with your buds. That's right down my aisle, right up my aisle, or down it. You go up and down an aisle. You can do both. It goes both ways. Rory Starks, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. You're welcome for the recommendation. I highly recommend the recommendation. I've been playing ARCs with I've been playing ARCs a lot with the fiance. She is ruthless. Oh my gosh. Okay, see, this is where you find out. This is where you discover things about your loved ones that you didn't know about. Hey, Pluggo, nice to see you, brother. Welcome to the chat. It is very nice to see you. And yes, I will double confirm that Pluggo has answered a Warren Hayes Craigslist last ad or two. Thing is that he didn't even know it was me. So how awkward is that? Mr. Antox, nice to see you too. Welcome to the chat. So how about that TNA lockdown? Didn't watch it. Did not watch it and not planning on it either. That's just as simple as that. Just as simple as that. The Core Tree, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Officer, this is him, the guy who tried to make me look at his member. See, this I jump in really too quickly on these things, you know, and then you realize it after. It's like, no, I shouldn't have said that. Sid Hickenbottom, also nice to see you. Welcome. You go back tomorrow to work, school. Are you a teacher as well? If so, you are doing the Lord's work. I have always had tons of respect for the teaching profession that only grew for me personally during the pandemic because of all the shit they do. Anyway. The shit that the teachers went through during the pandemic is absolutely preposterous. Much respect for all of them. DGMC left a super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. I want the Avery Styles Eric Cannon nonsense to become an angle. What's wrong with me? Can run around the country with the heel face based on location. You see, like now TNA is not going to allow Avery Styles to work with Eric Cannon. They're just not going to let that happen now. Unless they give Eric Cannon a contract. Which I don't think they will because Eric Cannon has never worked in WWE or doesn't have some kind of affiliation with WWE, and Carlos Silva wants nothing of that. This wrestling show is too long. Discourse has become astroturfed content creator gold. These people act like they've never heard of the term tomorrow. Listen very closely. Listen here. A lot of the people, a lot of the folks who carried the water of the shows, the wrestling shows are too long discourse, are people my age or a little younger, who came up watching TV at a time where, where either you didn't have the means to record your shows, and a VCR, you could only go so far with a cassette, right? If you couldn't record on SLP, you were fucked. But like the idea is that you stayed up and you watched it to the very end because then you went to school the next day and you talked about it with your friends, or there was no way really to catch up, and you had to pay for the replays on pay-per-view, right? If you wanted to watch it again. And as these people have all maintained this core tenet where it's like, I'm sitting down to watch the wrestling now and I don't have any other opportunities to do it. And it's like, this is bullshit. Like it's bullshit reasons. Between streaming and DVRs and replays being free once you buy them and whatnot, there is no excuse to just go pause. It's 10 p.m. I got to be up at 5. Pause. I'm going to bed and I'll come back tomorrow and I'll watch the rest. Like that. Like there's no plausible reason to not do that. It doesn't make sense. But it's people that have been doing this for decades and are just out of force of habit, right? It's the same people who still latch on to the Monday Night Wars mentality, where AEW cannot be successful unless they beat WWE. Because some ratings war that had nothing to do with the fans intrinsically suddenly became the measuring stick as to whether or not who was successful or not in the Monday Night Wars. It's all old, antiquated ways of thinking. Thankfully, you've got a hip thinker here. You've got a guy who does not shy away from the how do you do, fellow youths scenarios. I am shameless. I fear nothing. I will go up to a group of Gen Alphas and start dropping the lingo. Look at that guy over there. He has a little case of the tism, and they'll go, "Wow, this guy's so cool." That went too far. Life is too short to watch TNA. We only have one life to live. This. Thank you for supporting my not watching of TNA. New TNA chairman Eric Cannon. I mean, it'd be better than the authority figures that they have in place right now. I was gonna call them austerity figures, which is actually funny when you think about it. The Venn diagram of people who complain about long AEW shows and people who have to cover WWE for living. I'm out of practice. The Venn diagram of people who complain about long AEW shows and people who have to cover WWE for a living is nearly a perfect circle. Yes. And who also complain about the Ring of Honor show on Friday. I think the 4 people that actually use TiVos also happen to be wrestling content creators. When with 3 clicks they can watch the show in its entirety. Are TiVos still around? I feel like that's the. I feel like that's they're not around anymore. TiVos. Like they were the industry leader for a while, but does anyone still have a TiVo? I'm legitimately curious. That's the thing. Like I'm not trying to piss in anyone's cornflakes. I'm legitimately interested by this. I'm always worried about being spoiled by social media if I don't watch it live. Yeah, I mean that's fair. And it happens to me too. You know, like, look, when I'm covering the G1, okay, I wake up every morning and the G1 is done, right? I'm too old to do this. Get up at 2 a.m. and, boil a pot of coffee and watch till 5. I'm done with that. So I get up in the morning and I watch and I watch the thing. So I just, stay off of social media. I don't even go into my group chats. I just shut everything off and I'm like, okay, I'll hop on once I have seen with my own eyes everything that happens. And this is not directly related to you, Will, but like there's always convenient excuses as to, I've got to watch. It has to be watched now. Like there's always convenient excuses, right? Dave has the convenient excuses of just not having time anymore. If it would ever so happen that he skipped a match and he didn't review a match, let's say this pure hypothetical where Dave Meltzer, watches a match, but then is like, maybe I should watch it again, and is trying to find time because in the meantime, then other wrestling's getting piled up and he's like, it's not a priority. Like there's those kinds of excuses too. And that type of hypothetical, it's a purely hypothetical situation. I watched SmackDown, Raw, NXT, I watched SmackDown, Raw, NXT, every PLE, AAA, Evolve, and TNA. And the problem is AEW's pay-per-views. I mean, that was the argument of a certain article not that long ago, right? That was the gist of it, right? AEW just gave too much content. But what have I been saying for years here at this point? I've been saying this for years. Is that AEW is not catering to people like me. It's not catering to Brian Alvarez or Dave Meltzer. It's catering to its fans. And what they want to do is they want to lock those fans in. They want to lock them in and want to give them their money's worth. And to hell with the pundits. And if you make it your job to watch everything, then that's on you. Or you make choices, I mean, it's not AEW's fault. AEW does their responsibility is not people like me. Their responsibility is their fan base and giving the fan base the amount of content that they want. That's just as simple as that. We've talked about it so many times, and I always come back to the same thing. The shows are too long issue is a content creator problem only that doesn't affect the fans in any single way. It has no value to the fans. It's not something that the fans should go up to the barricades or defend. It has nothing to do with that. Silly. Don't make me turn off this stream. Well, I mean, unless it's to go watch a match that you need to rewatch then maybe it's a good idea. You should go rewatch the match. See, this is the kind of thing, and no, I don't want to get into that. I've got, no. We're not talking about that. It's the most uninteresting topic on planet Earth. Other than Dave is very funny and he's having a lot of fun with it. Other than that, it's the most uninteresting topic in pro wrestling. AEW just insists too much of my time. Here's a WWE Unreal review. And, you know, a lot of these people, you know, you're like, what exactly are you reviewing? What exactly are you covering? I don't know. AEW is catering to me, and I am very happy. There you go. That's all there is to it. And if you keep piling on, if you keep watching and watching stuff, well, that's on you. And you can make choices. And you can say, and you know what? It's perfectly fine to say some weeks I'm just going to skip Dynamite. I'm going to skip the Collision. You know, that's what having a healthy lifestyle is like. Anyway, we're warming up here. We're getting going. We're going. We're all revved up, and let's start talking. What do you mean? I can skip what I want. You know what? If I wanted to skip All In, I'd skip All In. If I wanted to, I would do it. It'd look bad, but I'd do it if I really wanted to. But it is All In week. And AEW is going to have the big pay-per-view this Sunday from the Wembley Stadium. Finally, we're going to see just how bad of a build Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay has been. Look, I'm saying this as a guy who, I'm not necessarily enchanted with it. I thought, but look, the whole Dynamite reviews are there. We're going to catch up with my thoughts on how AEW is going. And that's it. We're going to be cracking open the old Wembley Stadium this weekend. The big Dynamite from Glasgow, I want to say. I think that's what it is, right? Wembley, Glasgow, the O2. Is that where the O2 is? It's in Glasgow. Then we got the Collision, and then that's it. Then wham bam, it's the biggest show of the year for AEW. So that's all happening this weekend. And if you weren't here at the start of the stream, I was pontificating. How's that for a word? About whether or not I was going to do what I usually do when there's an AEW pay-per-view on a Sunday, which is preempt the Monday stream in order to be able to review All In. But since All In is in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Seaboard, no, we're still in daylight. It's not standard yet. I was kind of thinking, oh, well, maybe I could do the review on Sunday evening and then have the stream on Monday as well. It's kind of making sense to me. So we'll try and do that. We'll try. I think that's what we're going to be gunning for. So I was all prepared tonight to sit down and say no stream on Monday, but no, we just might be okay. We might have a stream on Monday. How about that? Yeah. We'll do that. I think we'll do that. So no change, a bunch of extra content. It'll be a good time. I'm very excited to watch the show. I'm very excited for All In. I'm very, very, very excited to see what they've got lined up and what kind of people can show up on that show. Unexpected individuals. You never know. In the wacky world of professional wrestling, you just never know. So that's what's coming up. Of course, the Dynamite review will be here on Thursday, as it usually is. And I don't want to sound like I've been really, really down on the Kenny Will build. I haven't. I think that for a time they were overthinking it. And now they're not, essentially. And I think that the Dynamites recently have been good as far as the wrestling goes. I think they've been super duper solid shows. So don't let my dopey antics turn you off to watching the AEW Dynamite review thinking, oh, Warren is just going to complain about Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay all the time. No, he's not. He's actually giving it a really fair shot and walking you through his thought process and, you know, why he used to think it wasn't great, now how he thinks it's kind of better. Actually better, in fact. So do that. And if it's your first time here, subscribe to the channel. That's it. Every subscription gets a little peck on the forehead. Just like that. Every subscription. And if you find it in your heart, you can also leave a super chat if you want, or become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. You know what I was thinking? I don't know if this is a bad idea. It might be a bad idea, but I was thinking that maybe I should do text to speech chats, right? Maybe that's what I should do. For paid chats, of course, right? Not just, you know. I'm thinking, why not? You know. And then again, maybe it's a terrible idea as well. It could very well be like the worst idea I ever thought. But then I'm like, well, what if I price them high enough? And that people never use it, but at least it's there. So someone who does, like, you know, splurge, at least they get like a surprise at the very least. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm weighing the pros and cons. Going to bed every night thinking about it. So there you have it. There we go. I think that's all. I think that's the thing. I think we've covered everything. All right. Well, y'all know what that means if we've covered everything. You know what time it is. It is time to say hello to our pal, Jacques.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Jacques Moliere.
How are you?
Let me tell you a little bit about myself.
Okay.
I'm a nunchuck master, and I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling.
Hoo-yah! Silver Apocalypse, it is nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Such a lovely time for you to pop in as we are getting a huge demonstration. I heard Dropkick rated Jacques' nunchuck play 5 stars. Dropkick has no standards. I'm not surprised. Okay. I'm just going to show you something. It's my ongoing bewilderment of what the Figure 4 Online Wrestling Observer website is becoming. Okay. As I'm setting up, I always pull up the Figure 4 Wrestling Observer, and I just scour through them. Are there any late day news items that I didn't see slip by, that I didn't see and are here and whatnot? So I'm scrolling down, and I'm going to Hiromu Takahashi in the dark match, Lola Vice, blah blah blah. Obafemi and Braun Breaker, contract signing for Sunday night's main event. Dynamite and Collision, Jordan Grace in her topic. Will Ospreay planning special ring gear for AEW All In 2026. Will Ospreay planning special ring gear for AEW All In 2026. Folks, this is not news. This is bullshit, is what that is. That is an absolute fucking joke of an article that I am finding on a website that typically is their prime audience are wrestling hardcores. No one here cares about Will Ospreay planning a special ring gear for AEW All In 2026. And even if you do care, which is fine, by the way, but even if you do care, it's not very surprising, is it? Biggest show of the year, and one of the top acts of the company is going to have a special ring gear? Oh, fuck off. What the hell is this? What are we even doing? Like, this is the kind of stuff that you find on Fightful. No disrespect, because Fightful goes for the casual audience. That's their audience. That's what they're looking for. And, that's why I don't hang out on Fightful.com and scour the articles, because I have to go through all of this and the innumerable Danhausen did this wacky thing today. Danhausen cursed, Michelle Pfeiffer's shoes or whatever the fuck. It's like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, exactly. Hearing that Kenny Omega will have pyro at All In. The Young Bucks preparing a special dollar bill for their dollar bill cannons for All In. It's like, who cares? Like, it's not news. It's just, it's gossip. It's TMZ nonsense. It's, and TMZ sometimes has more news than this. The Jake Scudderfication of this website continues unabated. It is preposterous. Absolutely fucking preposterous. And here's the other thing also that I've noticed since we're here. Darby Allin gives one interview, and look at this. There you go. You get 3 fucking Darby Allin articles, one next to the other. Because you can't just say Darby Allin had an interview and you put one quote in it. You have to make a couple of posts out of it. Again, like this, like I understand that this is the playbook. But do I like it? No, like I often say, it's just because I understand something doesn't mean I like it. Darby Allin says his body was so depleted after AEW World Championship win, he felt numb. What? You can't have that. Like, this is kayfabe. This is 100% kayfabe. He beat MJF in like 42 seconds or whatever the fuck. His body could not have been depleted. Gonna lead by example, following Sting's influence. Oh, fuck off. Jesus Christ. Why am I hammering on this? Because I expect this from Fightful, from Wrestling Inc., from SES Scoops. I expect it from those sites, and that's why I don't frequent them. Or whatever the fuck Inside the Ropes has become. Because that's what they do. That's their content mission, their content mills. That's all. But from the Observer website, no, I don't expect it. I don't expect this at all. Swerve Strickland comments on NXT's Maya Lockwood using variation of his in-ring move. Who cares? Who could possibly care? You care if you're subscribed to Swerve on social media and you saw whatever post it is, with his Twitter post or his Instagram post. I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out because it's an ongoing theme here. Unfortunately, we're here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. We are cataloging the fall of the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 online website. That's what we're doing, quite unfortunately. It brings me no joy. I hope you understand this. It's extremely frustrating. I'm not sitting here going, tee hee hee. No, I'm upset. Makes me upset. Will Ospreay expects the best version of Kenny Omega yet at All In. Yeah, exactly. It's like those endless articles and news stories describing the meaning and detail behind every one of Rhea Ripley's tattoos. I have never seen one of those articles, and I'm very thankful. That means that I have not been completely overwhelmed by the brain rot of of low tier casual professional wrestling fans. At the very least, I have legitimately never seen one of those. All right. Now let's laugh a little bit. This popped up earlier today. Apparently, Moose, one of the Mr. Warren Hayes show's favorite pro wrestlers ever, the Moose Nation on Twitter. Shush. Apparently, he had a very regal entrance at the TNA Lockdown presentation, feature presentation yesterday on Sunday, to the point that it was this epic, this tremendous thing, and he hit the old Twitter and decided to share his entrance with the following caption for all of us to see. Growing up, this is the tweet that I'm reading, by the way, from the @Moose Nation. Yeah, so he's official. He's official. You know how he's official? Not only does he have the blue check mark, but he has the TM next to his name. I mean, you could read it all the way and just say his name is Moosetum. He's not from around here, is he? Stop it, Warren. You're going to get in trouble. Growing up, Triple H was one of my favorites to watch, mostly because of the larger-than-life entrances he would present at big shows. Wow, that's a very shallow way of presenting your love of Triple H. All right, I mean, says a lot. Says more about you than you think. There, the Moose Nation. This is me showing homage. So he decided to directly at Triple H, notice me senpai, and share with him his high-level TNA number 2 promotion in the land entrance. Let's take a look at it. Now, okay, personally, and we're talking personally speaking, very, very personally speaking, I'm a sucker for I'm a sucker for string instruments being used as a wrestling entrance. Shinsuke Nakamura, when he'd have those couple of times they had the violinist come in to do his entrance, I thought those were the raddest. That was the raddest shit ever. I still remember. I don't remember entrances as much as other people. Like, there's some people that's essentially all that they remember from a wrestling match, like, the Moose Nation. But like the Shinsuke one with the guy play, I was like, this is fucking awesome, right? They did it once in NXT, and then and then they did it another time when he was on main roster, and I think they did it a third time, and then that was anyway. I just wanted to point out that I have appreciation for strings being used in wrestling entrances. I think it's cool. Now, the only thing that sucks is that the guys in production started the theme before the girls finished playing. That's not on them. I think the violinists and the cellist were doing a fantastic job. And the cellist, I feel like she's ended early because she heard the music playing and she was like, "Oh, this is my cue." But then the violinists were like, "No, we gotta finish the tune." Anyway, maybe if they had done just more than one dress rehearsal, which is probably all they had to do. What's amazing about this is it's the, you know, the one of the reasons why it worked so well for WWE is because they had the production chops to pull it off, you know, to pull off these types of big time entrances. Here you've got Moose sitting down, like the camera doesn't have a proper lens, like the guy's probably very close, and it's so fucking janky. Have you noticed how shaky the cam is? Like you can get stabilizers now. If you don't want stabilizer software in your camera, you can get a stabilizer now, a pro one, for a fraction of what it used to cost in 2008 or whenever, when Triple H was doing these types of entrances. And look at how janky the camera is. You can't see shit. You can't see shit.
The following contest is
you can't see shit.
Scheduled for.
And Moose is sitting there going, I'm so cool. I'm the coolest motherfucker. I am so cool. Like he's sitting there and he's got goosebumps under that dopey robe of his. He's like, oh, I'm the king of kings. This is for you, Paul. This is for you, Paul. I'm doing this for you, Paul. And cheap ass fucking throne. Like, what the fuck is this? You know, they got this off of Wayfair.com, right? This was the you know, yes, it's gaudy. It's a throne. It's supposed to look gaudy, but you know, again, like Triple H's shit would be custom made. Like it all looks super fucking tacky.
Escape.
Too much take or smoke. Exactly.
The cage.
We're paying all sorts of tributes in this one. Triple H, Mark Calloway. You know, we're just packaging them all into one. You know.
Introducing first from Moose Nation, Moose.
So I know it's supposed to feel impressive, right? But it's a tiny stage. It's a tiny stage. There's 4 girls playing strings. You know, the set is poorly lit. You know, it's TNA production, so it never looks great. You know, it looks fine, but it doesn't look the way that this was imagined. And there's people in AEW who have done these types of things in the past as well. There's people in AEW that have had these grand visions of how a certain entrance is supposed to look like, right? And it didn't work out because, well, you know, because you didn't throw in the budget, right? You didn't throw in it didn't look good because it wasn't well prepared. It wasn't well put together. It wasn't well shot. Off the top of my head, was it the Hurt Syndicate who came out? There were a bunch of girls who came out before them and all went around the ring, and they were like, it was the most average looking thing ever. Or was it MJF? I don't remember. It was either or, but it doesn't matter. Look, it's all bad. It's all bad. And he's there soaking it in, because that's what you got to do when you're having this type of ostentatious entrance. You can't just like head to the ring. You've got to soak it in. Now, my question is, what is he soaking? What is he soaking? Right? I'm not hearing necessarily huge cheers for him. You know, the atmosphere is not palpable, right?
Moose walking into this first time ever one-on-one contest with Frankie Kazarian inside the steel cage. A grand entrance for the face of the franchise.
Okay. That's pretty much it. The rest doesn't matter, right? I don't think. The rest doesn't matter. It's just more shots of the girls while he's walking to the ring and taking his sweet ass time. Like he's given himself a Roman Reigns entrance, right? And it doesn't matter. Yeah, ultimately none of this matters. And are these like actual recording artists? Oh, so these are actual. Well, shout out to them. Everyone download, listen to Altus. on Spotify. I mean, they look extremely talented. They know, the girls know what they're doing. Anyway, so essentially what we got here, right? What we had was a guy in his robe, in his typical robe, right? Who's just surrounded by people playing musical instruments, 4 people in all, and he's sitting on the throne, a gaudy dime store throne. And I'm thinking that, like, the last person I'm thinking watching this is Triple H. If anything, I'm thinking Lexus King. you know, like Lord William Regal would have better would have better entrances than this. And he has the cojones to just tag Triple H in this and say, Paul, I did this because you were my favorite. Like, Jesus Christ. And I'm Triple H, and I see this because I pretend I don't go on social media, but I do. And I tap on that and I go, like, there's nothing impressive here. There's nothing impressive here in any way, shape, or form. It's all in this guy's head. He thinks he's the coolest motherfucker on earth. Meanwhile, everyone is like, all right, let's keep it going. let's get this show going. Giving himself a Roman Reigns entrance, just taking a sweet time down to the ring while a string quartet plays his theme. Now, is it a good rendition of his theme? I don't know. I don't know his theme. I thought his theme had Moose. Moose, wasn't that his theme? Did it change? Honestly, don't answer it. I don't give a shit. But like, this is like basic. And I think someone in the chat say it. I think someone in the chat said it right. This is a high school production level stuff. That's what this is. And it's very funny that in his mind, he's like, this is for Triple H. It's like, brother, Triple H did not invent sitting on a throne to go to a ring. There's nothing Triple H-ish about this. Anyway, I thought that was funny. I like this thing we've been doing where we start off pointing and laughing at something, sets the tone, makes everyone happy. Makes everyone happy. He wants that call up to WWE so badly. Oh God, does he ever? Oh, it is embarrassing though at this point. He really wants it. Notice me, senpai, big time. Hey, fuck your mama. Nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. No matter how much he wants to be there, they don't want you, Moose. They don't love you like they love Little Yachty. Yeah, pretty much. I agree. Also, he lost to Frankie Kazarian in the dumbest way. The lockdown 2012. He locked down 2012 did, aka James Storm's super kicked Bobby Roode out of the cage for Roode to win. Just replaced the super kick with a spear. I heard that outside of 2 matches, every finish on lockdown was like a dumb finish. Every finish was dumb. You got to be creative. You got to be creative. You got to set the tone for when BG James is going to start, because his employment opportunity at AEW was taken away from him. He was taken away from him because of David Bixenspan. It really wasn't. He thought it was because of David Bixenspan, but it wasn't. It was just the one. I'm like, why is Bix catching strays here? Jesus Christ! Because he's a conservative, because of his political beliefs. He lost. I hope most of you are smart enough to realize that a substantial amount of professional wrestlers, I don't want to say all of them, I don't want to say most of them, but I want to say a substantial amount of professional wrestlers are conservatives. I hope you realize that. I think it's even more preponderant the older the wrestler is and the further to the south that person lives. All right? And I know people get really fucking upset at Chris Jericho and whatnot, but boy, oh boy, would they be shocked to find out who Steve Borden Sr. has been voting for over the past couple of decades. I'm just saying. You know, but you see, who cares, right? And, you know, to a degree, it's fine. But he thinks it's all because I was a conservative. Like, okay, buddy. And he outright says it. He says, oh, you know, they donated to the Republicans, but no one gives them shit about that. Oh, friend, hang on a second. Wait a minute. Anyway, we're not talking about BG James. We're not talking about the road doggy dog. We want to talk about the Moose Nation. I thought when you said a Regal entrance that Bullwinkle turned British and emulated William Regal, the new blue blood. It amazes me that 2026 TNA looks worse than TNA 2008. Man, they have no money. They just have no money. They have no money. They just have no money. Probably gave him this special interest in lieu of a raise. Listen, Moose, you got to do your part, brother. Everyone's chipping in because we got to sign Avery Styles. We got to sign the Styles kid. Everyone's chipping in. Everyone's taking a hit. We got to bring in the Styles kid. High school drama ass cherry, yeah, pretty much. And this is supposed to be the number 2 promotion. You will notice that everyone who would go around saying this is the number 2 promotion are no longer saying this is the number 2 promotion. They all thought that they could do things that that TNA has never been designed to do. It was MJF and the Hurt Syndicate when they had their story and it did suck. Okay, when the women came down to the ring, yeah. Now I remember. Okay, now I'm contextualized, and boy, that was bad. That was bad. Someone had a really cool vision for that, and it was just extremely shit, is what it was. Look, you're also named Moose. You can't be Moose and ask me to take you this seriously in your moose robe. Is that a cape? And is that cape a TNA flag? He'll wipe his ass with that cape as soon as he gets a call from Papa H. How old is Moose? How old? He's 42, so he's right in the prime years to join the main event scene in WWE. He's in the perfect era. So maybe he will get the big call up and the big push. Just like LA Knight, right? LA Knight's getting the big old shoveroo. Good for him. There's no way you will never get me. You will never get me to get head over heels for Eli Drake in 2026. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, the Young Bucks are God-fearing Inland Empire Californians that go to Cracker Barrel. You know, I didn't think going to Cracker Barrel made you a certain type of political alignment. I love going to Taco Bell. It is my second favorite reason to go to the United States. Picture Hard or Die. Nice to see you. Welcome. Excellent username. Avery Styles is going to 100% reform the Bullet Club in 10 years, probably with the Good Brothers kid, because Luke Gallows' kid is running the indies right now. And I haven't seen anything from him yet, but people that I trust have been telling me he's very good. Which would be a step up from his dad. Ah! Ka-ching! Moose is a bit young for WWE, but they like fresh blood. We considered getting married in the Taco Bell Cantina in Las Vegas. Is that a really? Can you do that? That sounds awesome, actually. That's a very good idea. I'm not going to lie. That's right up my alley. Luke ain't going to let his kid take his spot. Now that's funny. Anyway, that's enough, Moose. That's enough. That's enough for now. Let's go back to the docket. Here's our docket for tonight, folks. Lots of neat little topics. I think nothing too serious, nothing too in depth. Look, I did not watch Death Before Dishonor. I will catch up and take a look at it. Do we want me to do a review? And I'm asking this very, very legitimately. Do we want me to do a review of it? If so, I'll take notes. But it'll be a late ass review with the coldest takes of all time. It'll be like an ice cold review from Mr. Warren Hayes, because I probably won't be able to get around to it until later in the week, much later in the week, maybe even close to the weekend. Unless I look at it and was like, nah, I've got like 30 minutes 30 minutes is enough to share my thoughts about this show or whatever. I don't know. Like if there's demand for a Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor 2026 review, I'll do it. And maybe as I'm watching it, I'll be like, yeah, I want to talk about this. You've heard nothing but terrible things about Death Before Dishonor. I've heard the opposite. I've heard it was a good show. I heard that Athena and Hazuki were absolutely tremendous. A lot of people going overboard saying it's the match of the year, women's match of the year. And I'm like, okay, well, that's already a red flag for me that it's maybe being a little overblown. They went 30 minutes though, and that plays against them. That a 30-minute Athena match, that's a red flag too. I feel like I'm just going to bring back all of my typical talking points when I get around to reviewing it, if I get around to reviewing it. It'll always be the same thing. Athena emotes too much. She needs to be, she needs to pack it all in, and the match went too long. Athena is better in shorter matches where she doesn't feel like she has all this time that she has, to emote and do things. When she feels like the pressure's on, that's when she's at her best. Yada, 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 yada. I heard Nick Wayne was really fucking good against Bandito. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear that it was a terrible show. Lance's review was scathing. See, I haven't listened. I don't know what. I don't know. Enough happened on Death Before the Dishonor that I'd say it's worth reviewing. Death Before the Dishonor made me care about an Action Andretti match, which never happens. That's something big. That's something spectacular. And then he joins the Ops on top of that. I'm like, okay. I think doing a review of a few key matches as a bonus is what I do. Okay, all right. Well, clearly there is an appetite for Death Before Dishonor discourse. All right, look, I'm probably going to end up watching it tomorrow. And we'll see how inspired I am, and we'll go from there. Knowing that I'm going to be very late on it, might not go super duper in depth. Because it'll probably be a full week later, and then it's like, man, this is ice cold now. Like Nick Wayne and Bandito and Athena and Suzuki as bonus reviews at the end of a Dynamite review. Oh, okay. Okay. Good ideas. I'll start by watching the show, but I see that, there's a certain level of interest. That's good. So we'll do something and I'll watch the show and then I'll decide how invested I am in it or not. There you go. Guilty as charged reacting in the moment to Athena and Hazuki as match of the year. I mean, listen. It's fine if you did. And I just have some those generate some red flags. There's a lot of people who like Athena a lot more than I do. And I like Athena. That's the thing. And Athena is one of these wrestlers that I want to like more. I want to like her more. But there's so many little things in her game that just really irritate me. I'm like, is she polished off those things? I'll be like, then I'll be like, okay, yes, now we've got ourselves a total package. And her propensity to do 30-minute matches is, she's not a 30-minute match wrestler. Not a lot of wrestlers are, to be fair. It's not necessarily a knock on her. It's just, why are we booking her into these situations? I don't know. So that's it. So that's where I'm at with Death Before Dishonor. So stay tuned. I'll see what I do exactly on that front. But there will be something. At the very least, as per suggested, at the very least, just a quick review on the Dynamite review of the two top matches at the very least. I think that would make sense. The only thing that bothers me about Athena is her having to rely on heel tropes a la Minions, aka Billy and Diamante. Too good to be doing that. I understand why that can be aggravating. It's like me in the House of Torture. but Red Narita's not that good, so it's like all of this stinks, type of thing. It's just all bad. I don't have a problem necessarily with heels healing to win, but it does get, when it becomes predictable and exhausting, when it's the same thing over and over again, that's when it loses all of its interest and its sparkle and its flavor. And I kind of feel what you're feeling, like Athena at some point is like, can we do something else? How long has she been doing the Minion stuff? 2 years now, easily? 3? As long as she's been champion? I don't know. We could just do something else. We could just drop the Minion stuff. I wish she'd get better about not dropping cutesy millennial Reddit bullshit in her heel promos. I don't know if you heard, she's a gamer. She's a millennial gamer. I don't know if you heard about this. So those things kind of go hand in hand. Kristen Ashley, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat, my dear. It is lovely to have you. Also a member of the Missouri Unusual channel. Look at that. All right. Continental Cup. Continental Challenge Cup, the C3. Our semifinals are all set. Oh, I thought we had a graphic here. Brian was too busy. He was too overwhelmed with all the wrestling to do a proper graphic. Or do we have a graphic here? No, these are the quarterfinals. Okay, never mind. So Kyle O'Reilly and Claudio Castagnoli advanced. So Orange Cassidy has been eliminated, and Daniel Garcia as well, because Daniel Garcia subbed in for Eddie Kingston. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So who do we have left? Well, we have Kyle O'Reilly, Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Nigel McGuinness. Those are going to be the semifinals, which I believe are all taking place on Dynamite this week. Correct? I believe that is that's the gimmick that's going to be happening this week. Pedro the Fifth, nice to see you and welcome. Yeah. Yes. Everyone's C3 picks are in the bin, I would say. Look, I think it's become clearer than ever that that we're getting Nigel and Mox at Wembley, and I'm still purporting the same. I'm espousing the same theory that I had since it happened. I don't think Nigel is legitimately injured. I think they're really leaning into it as a serious injury, but I don't think he's injured. I don't think he's legitimately injured. I think they're leaning into this for it to be the story at Wembley. In the meantime, you've got people working over John Moxley's shoulder throughout the tournament, so that's also going to be part of the story. In fact, the whole story is going to be about limbs. It's going to be Nigel working over John's shoulder and John working over Nigel's ankle. That's going to be the story, and it's going to be a hard but forgivable defeat for Nigel, because he won't have come in 100%. He'll be injured and blah, 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 blah. They're a little smoke and mirrors, a little covering, I really don't think, and I don't have any confirmation. No one has told me, no, that's right. The injury is at work. No one has told me that. Again, I haven't asked anyone either, because I don't care that much. It's not that big of a deal. But you could see the signs when it happened. They didn't move the camera away. They didn't move the camera away while he was hurt. They didn't do any of the regular tells when it comes to serious injury during a wrestling match. And Tony Schiavone at the end of that collision was immediately informed us. Yes, I have just learned that Nigel has been removed from the tournament, and they just don't do that. That's just something that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen because Tony Khan hates it when people are forced out of tournaments. He absolutely fucking hates it. As much as he loves tournament wrestling, as much as I do, he does not like it when this stuff happens. He understands, when it happens for real, it's an accident. I don't think he holds a grudge against that person. I don't think. I don't know him. I couldn't tell you. But, it disrupts everything and it bothers him, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think that, and of course it disrupts your tournament and whatnot. So, that's the one thing that annoys him, right? So, and look at how they handled Eddie Kingston. Look at how they handled Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston walked out of his match against Jake Doyle. No problem, nothing at all. And they didn't announce that he was being, not on the same show, not on the following Dynamite. It took a while. And whatever. And that to me is proof that whatever Eddie is suffering of is legitimate. I don't think Nigel is shoot injured. I really don't. I think they're covering for his own personal limitations. Yeah. So again, full transparency, I have not seen the Claudio Garcia and O'Reilly Cassidy matches for the same reasons why I haven't watched any wrestling this weekend, really. But I'll get around to them, see where they rank in my matches, my favorite matches of the tournament. But I think back and I'm like, the finals should have been John Moxley and Jay White. I thought that match was awesome. I really thought that match was awesome. Anyway, so that's where we're at with the Continental Cup. That's continuing on later this week. One thing I was able to watch before Showtime today was the finals of the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix. Is everything okay? Are we already okay? The finals of the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix, in which Rena wins the tournament, the youngest wrestler to ever win the tournament at 19 years old. And she faced Starlight Kid in the finals, and it was absolutely tremendous. It was such a good time. I watched it over lunch today. Got myself a nice sandwich. Sat down, and she is fantastic. And this match was absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to lie. As a Starlight Kid guy, I was a little upset because I'm at a stage of my enjoyment of the Starlight Kid where I am actively asking, wondering, pondering, why are they doing, what are we waiting? What are we waiting for in regards to the Starlight Kid? She has been excellent forever. She has been an anchor of she has been an anchor of this promotion forever. So what are we doing exactly? What are we doing exactly here? But they both had a terrific match. Like, this was absolutely it was an excellent high level match. I loved the final stretch on top of it. I thought it was great. It had tremendous amounts of drama. You know, if I were to slap the old ratings on it, I'd give it 4.5. That's where I'd go with it. It was such a great match. And I suggest everyone goes out of their way to see it. And you know what? It's a Stardom match, so it's not going to overstay its welcome. It's going to be, you know, how long was it? Look, it doesn't matter. It was all very tenable, and it was a breeze to watch. Just some great stuff by both these ladies. Absolutely fantastic. And Rena wins, and like I said, look, a lot of folks had seen it early on, I should say, saying Rena was going to be a star. Rena has the goods and whatnot. And I mean, if anyone was still sitting on the fence or wondering or uncertain, you look at this match and you're like, okay, this woman is going to be a bona fide star. She is absolutely going to be a bona fide star in pro wrestling. That's a safe bet. It's a very, very safe bet. And the crowd loves her. She's in the heel faction, and the audience is cheering for her. When the bell rings, you got the big Rena chants going on. She's so good. She is very, very, very good. And you look at this and you think about her little escapade that she had, or her little sojourn in AEW recently, and you're like, this sucks. You know, because she didn't leave AEW with leaving behind a good impression overall, right? I think people saw her and was like, oh, well, she's fine, you know, nice. But, you know, at the same time, she's 19 years old, right? And she's used to working one style. I'm not necessarily surprised that the connection with the American audience was a little more tenuous, didn't mesh as quickly. I wasn't necessarily surprised. That'll come with experience. It'll come with age. As she grows, as she progresses, and as she inevitably makes a name for herself. This is a fantastic main event, and I still have a ton of matches to catch up on in the 5-star as well. Like, I really have a ton. Oh my God, the recommendations, like, I had them like halfway in. Then I asked for, okay, what are the recommendations for the latter half? It's like they doubled my recommendation. Doubled my list. I'm like, fuck you all. Fuck you all for wrestling so good. I'm very excited. I'm excited to see this is cool because it's someone that is clearly poised to have a very successful career in pro wrestling. Poised, right? Like, you know, who knows what types of unfortunate events or decisions that may occur, right? We don't have that much foresight, but you know, you just look at everything that she does, how she presents herself, how she interacts with the audience, and I'm very excited about seeing this young woman's future in wrestling. It's very, very exciting. And I particularly liked when she was going around the ring after the match, in with the audience, slapping hands and whatnot. She was still selling the beating she took on the leg, because that was the thing. They each picked a limb. Starlight Kid worked the leg, and she was still selling it. I'm like, good for you. This is what you should be doing. Yes, sell the fucking leg. Good. And they got to do something about the dopey crown. They got to do something about the dopey crown. Doesn't this happen like every fucking year? Where you have to wear the crown, but it's like it's too small for everybody's head. It doesn't fit anyone's head. And she's standing there and she's trying to hold the trophy up with the fucking crown on her head. She's going like like this, and you're like, this is awkward and it's frustrating, and I don't want to see this too much. Move along. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. But anyway, good for her. Congratulations to Rina, not to be confused with Rina Yamashita. Not the same one. I'd say the Cinderella dress is worse if they still do that. Yes, but they go backstage and put it on and come back out. So at the very least, the Cinderella dress is, fitted. The crown doesn't stay on the head because it's too small. It's wardrobe malfunctions. I was more into TJPW's Princess Cup. Suzume winning it, beating Rika Tatsumi in the finals. Good for her. See, I know this is the appeal of TJPW. Like I understand it, but the idol stuff is not for me. The TJP. A couple of matches aside, couple of wrestlers aside, most of the TJPW is like stuff that is just doesn't work for me. So I prefer to just like go aside, just toss it aside, keep it around. When you hear there's a great match and whatnot, but there's it's just not for me. The TJPW, the Tokyo Joshi Pro, it's just not for me. Maki Ito was shockingly good. I mean, she's been shockingly good since joining Stardom. Which is shocking me. Yeah, I am shocked at how much I've been enjoying her stuff. One day Starlight Kid will digivolve into Starlight Adult. And I'll digipop for it, yeah. Both semifinal matches were tremendous, along with most quarterfinal matches that didn't include Ruaka. Burn! Eat shit, Ruaka. I think the reluctance to give anything to SLK is the ever-looming threat that she's perpetually on her way out. To where? To whom? Where is Starlight Kid going to go? Gonna go muck it up with the schmucks in Marigold? I don't think so. Tommy Hayashishita coming back. Telling her, no, don't go there. Rossi's nuts. Don't go. Yes, I was arms folded with Maki Ito, okay? I had no problem with Maki Ito because she only wrestled in promotions that I didn't watch. And the thing is that I liked her gimmick at first. I really did. I thought it was entertaining. I was this is fun, But, then she started mailing it in, and it was always the same thing. And I'm like, okay, boring, you know. And she goes to Stardom. I'm like, oh fuck. But no, like whatever they told her, she needed to. They told her you need to work here, and she's working. I got no issues with her. I really don't. Off to Starlight Community. The threat is to go to Starlight Community College. All right, meat and potatoes time. All right, meat and potatoes time, folks. We've got departures from the world of professional wrestling. Well, not from the world of professional wrestling, but comings and goings. How about that? Hirings and releases. Let's start with the big news that happened a couple of days ago. Ilja Dragunov leaving WWE took, I think, everyone by surprise. Let's read this article off of Post Wrestling. Ilja Dragunov is on his way out of the WWE roster per a new report from PW Insider. The former United States champion's latest deal with the company expired recently, Mike Johnson confirmed on Thursday. The 32-year-old Russian talent went from one of SmackDown's most frequent mid-card performers to a non-player on the show over the past 9 months. Dragunov made his in-ring return last October, coming back after missing a year of in-ring action due to injury. He won the United States Championship in his first match back, answering an open challenge from Sami Zayn. After winning the belt, Dragunov continued the tradition of hosting a U.S. title open challenge on a weekly basis. He would defend the title 8 times over the weeks that followed, putting on big performances, against names like Tommaso Ciampa, Carmelo Hayes, and Aleister Black. Dragunov's appearances on the Friday night program slowed down significantly after dropping his title in December, while he made sporadic appearances, rematching Hayes, Carmelo, in January, appearing in the 2026 Royal Rumble, and competing this year in this year's Andre the Giant Battle Royal, the Kiss of Death. He slipped into the background on the show. Fast forward to this summer, Dragunov hasn't wrestled a match in 4 months. Dragunov's other accomplishments in WWE include a 200-day run with the NXT Championship and a stint as the top name in NXT's now defunct United Kingdom program. So, that was a little surprising. Now, from what I understand, very obviously, it's very clear anyway to anyone who's been here for a while, I do not consume WWE programming, so I do not watch the Friday Night SmackDown. But from everything that I had heard, Ilja was doing tremendous work indeed with his run as U.S. champion. He was having typically the best match on the show, and his matches with Carmelo Hayes apparently were indeed really, really fun. As you know, they had met before in NXT and whatnot, so there was that common thread between them all. But now, his contract is expiring. I don't think we have received any clarity as to whether or not it was like the contract. WWE just let the contract expire, or if Dragunov refused to sign an extension or to re-sign or whatever, right? I would assume that under the wording of the contract that WWE that the contract was expired, right? What was the wording exactly that was used? The company that his deal with the company expired recently. To me, that feels like WWE was not interested in re-signing him, and they just let it go. But I think there could be, like, there's just enough there's just enough semantic dissonance there where I'm like, maybe he decided to not go back. Listen, a lot of people got really, really, really excited for Ilja Dragunov being a free agent and going to hit your favorite promotion around. Look, I mean, this is a guy he's still fairly young, right? He's in his early 30s, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. How old is Ilja Dragunov? He is 32. So, still a lot of very good years to get out of him. I guess he wasn't old enough to be in the main event scene in WWE. So ultimately what he did, what we have here is a guy who is still fairly young, who has a very good reputation as being a kick-ass fighter that I think a lot of people would love to see in a North American promotion that is televised nationally and is having a pay-per-view this weekend in Europe, and is holding a battle royal, not a battle royal, a gauntlet match, which is typically should be full of all sorts of surprises. I mean, I'm not close to the idea of Dragunov joining. If he's allowed to do what he does best, which is just like wail on people as hard as he can, I'm all for it. Like, that's what I want to see out of Ilja Dragunov. I haven't seen it in a while. Like, when the news broke and people got really, really excited, I said, look, I'm gonna say the same thing, or at least close to what I said when I posted on Blue Sky. And I haven't seen him wrestle in such a long time. I have no idea what he looks like. I don't know if he still has the goods. I don't know if it's been beaten out of him. The stuff that made him special, because there was a time, right, when he was working the European indies, and an Ilja Dragunov match was the match you'd end whatever conversation you'd be having with someone. You go, Ilja's about to fight, because you wanted to see this guy just beat the living piss out of the other guy he was fighting, and vice versa. Let that other guy beat the piss out of him as well. NXT UK used to be the repository for excellent matches in WWE. And Walter, when he was champion, he had matches with Ilja that were absolutely bonkers. So you bring him into AEW. You've got Claudio Castagnoli. Look, you got John Moxley to begin with. You've got Claudio. You've got you've got Mark Davis. There's a lot of fucking matches here that would really, really rule. That would be really, really tremendous. And he'd get a hero's welcome on top of that. I think this is a guy who absolutely has the potential to be a Tommaso Ciampa type of revelation, where you're like, oh shit, he has been this good. Because what would be your estimate? I'm asking this as a hypothetical, of course. What would be your estimate of current 2026 wrestling fans that remember Ilja Dragunov from 10, 12 years ago? Like me, for instance, the best memories that I have of Ilja Dragunov. Probably not a lot. And there's maybe a lot of people who just like, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, he's the guy in WWE and whatnot. I don't know exactly what his pedigree is outside of the U.S. Championship, but like you put him in the ring with guys like Brody, like Samoa Joe, and you're like, fucking A, this guy's gonna kick ass. just like completely unloads on them, there's a lot of potential here for some fights. And you know what? Sometimes, this is not necessarily a critique, but more of an observation based on my personal tastes. Sometimes AEW, I feel, could, it could get a little more into the good old fight territory more than it does. I mean, not that it never happens, don't get me wrong. We've got Jon Moxley carrying that standard in the company, right? So, that's fine. It's not like it never happens, but sometimes I just want to see two guys beat the piss out of each other. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Sometimes you just want 2015 Katsuyori Shibata versus Tomohiro Ishii. And this is a guy that could do it with a lot of other guys on the roster as well. Bandito's great and Commander's spectacular and the Bucks are spectacular. Don't get me wrong. Like these are all incredible wrestlers, and Ospreay's a genius and Kyle Fletcher's so cool. But man, let me have Konosuke Takeshita versus Ilja Dragunov. Let them both just turn their chests into hamburger just for my enjoyment. You know what I mean? That's the kind of shit I'd be into. So, if he's going to be a free agent, might as well bring him in and try it out. It could be a lot worse. How compatible will he be with the locker room? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I have no idea. Is he going to be one of these guys who is going to come into AEW and just wait for Paul Levesque to call back so that he can immediately jump back? I don't know. Is he a guy that's going to come in and be a Miro-like where he feels like he's above everyone on the roster? I don't know. I don't know. These are the things that we have no intangibles on. But I'll be goddamned if I wouldn't be excited to see him come and split some skulls open a bit. And then I'm like, what about New Japan? What about sending him over to New Japan and having him have a little run there? Have him be the guy who brutalizes all of the other dudes in the locker room. Doesn't have to be very long. And New Japan, as opposed to our North American companies here, they're completely okay with short-term contracts. You have him come in and you have him go fight Oleg Boltin, and I'm smiling the entire way. Have him beat the piss out of Yota Tsuji. You see the vision here? Have a really interesting kind of hybrid of the headlock match with Big Ryohei Oiwa, and an Ilja Dragunov special where he's forearming the piss out of you. These are all possible things too. All very interesting. The one thing that makes me wonder if he would fit into New Japan, basing myself off of what happened in the G1, is that the classic vision of strong style wrestling, the Tokan fighting spirit stuff of the mid 2010s where they would just wail on each other, and you know what I'm talking about, right? That classic vision that you have. I mentioned Shibata and Ishii. You see exactly what that means. I don't know if this is a vision that the new guys in New Japan have because of how the G1 ended, because of how the tournament was presented. They, like I said during when we talked about it last week, when I was wrapping up the tournament, Chris Charlton was putting over the fact that, that these guys wanted to promote, the new guys wanted to promote a new vision of strong style. You kind of thought that was, a promoter guy, blowing smoke up your ass. But no, it turns out that these guys were really into trying out some new things. They want to develop their own mark, their own evolution of puroresu, essentially, right? So and this is just a legitimate question. I'm not, this is not a knock in any sense of the word, but can Ilja Dragunov fit in this type of situation? I'd say yes, because because it'd still be fun as hell. And he's right at that. He's in that good age bracket as well, where he could slip in there, have a nice little run in Japan, and everything would seem fine. He wouldn't stand, not too old, not too young. He's right in that age bracket. Yota Tsuji's 32 as well. Soup is 31, right? Isn't Takeshita 31? Yeah, something like that. Look, it's an exciting prospect. It's an exciting prospect. I honestly do not know what's left of Ilja Dragunov, of the guy that I knew, because I just haven't watched his stuff. I haven't watched his stuff in WWE. But if the overall sentiment while he was there, while he was riding high and getting a push, a mid-card push, but a push nonetheless, was, man, he's one of the best parts of the show. Well, I'm not surprised. Very exciting. Look, it's a very exciting prospect. And to be very clear, if I'm AEW, yes, I bring him in and I try him out. If I'm New Japan, I make a play for him. I'm like, yeah, why don't you come here for a couple of months? Come here for a couple of months. We've got a roster spot for you. Absolutely. And try him out. So we'll see how it all goes. The one thing they can never take away from Ilja is that he was the first guy to give Walter Gunther his first loss in WWE. The fact they never ever hinted at running it back is malpractice. Well, they'd have to address it first, and they don't want that to happen because, WWE retcons its own history because that's how they are. That's how stupid they are. It was so good, though. Those matches were tremendous. But I mean, like, Dragunov and Walter knew each other from the indies previously. So if I were Maple Leaf Pro, I'd sign Dragunov to build the in-house style around him. Boo. I do not say that AEW should pick up every WWE cast-off, but this is one they should consider. I agree. Oh, he chose not to re-sign? Was that the follow-up? Is that the so he chose not to re-sign? Oh, well, good for him. So that means, yeah, he wants to get out there and wrestle. He wants to do things. Doesn't want to be sidelined for 4 months. And then end up with the Andre the Battle Giant Royal. He doesn't want to do that, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. It must be so disheartening to be in one of those because that's your spot on the roster. That's your spot on the roster. We have nothing interesting for you. It's kind of shocking we haven't got Mox Ciampa yet. Hopefully they are holding off to the C2. That's probably something that will happen, I would say. It's a very plausible match for the Continental Classic. Absolutely. AEW could use a few more women that can get into that fight territory. Yes. I wasn't picking up the rest of my hiss. Let me do that again. Yes. Ilja needs to have an opening program with Darby. I think it's a good showcase for the fans because you can't have a good match with Darby. If you can't have a good match with Darby, you have no business here. And not only that, Darby will help solidify this guy as an ass kicker. That's even more significant on top of that. Kaylee Ray and Danny Luna should be inserted into the women's scene. I don't know why they're not there yet. I do not know why they're not there yet. I don't understand. Hey, look at who it is. It is Fred Moreland. Fred Moreland, a 21-month member. What does he have to say, Fred Moreland of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungry podcast? How's it going, everybody? It's Jacques Moliere. That. He's got the imitation down and everything. How you doing, Freddie? Fred boy, Fredman. Frederick? Nice to see you, pal. What else have we got here? Let's head on back over here. TNA pulling the big moves. The big moves. The number 2 promotion in the land. I'm going to read this article here off of Post Wrestling here. TNA announces signing of Avery Styles and Kiera Hogan. The company announced on Sunday night, which would have been on the TNA lockdown show, that Avery Styles and Kiera Hogan have officially signed with them. Details on the length or value of either deal aren't known currently. Avery, son of wrestling legend and ex-TNA name AJ Styles, revealed during a segment on Sunday's show in Chicago that he is following in his father's footsteps by signing with the company. If he's going to really follow in his father's footsteps, though, he's going to stay there for 12 years or so, and just sit through some of the most horrendous booking wrestling can offer. 19-year-old Styles started wrestling earlier this year and has impressed with many sporadic independent wrestling appearances. Many? Impressed? Hang on a second. Does Avery Styles even have his cage match entry? Hold your horses there, Jack Wannon. Hang on a minute here. Come on, there we go. Avery Styles. He doesn't even have his cage match entry. He doesn't have a cage match entry yet. Where are we take? What are these many matches? Yeah, he doesn't have his entry yet. Look, I just pulled up here. Let me pull this up. There we go. Look, see his match with Marcus Mathers. See, he doesn't even have a cage match entry yet. What are these many matches? Like, how many matches has he had? Like, all I see is, okay, Avery Styles versus Marcus Mathers. He fought him twice, from what I see. Alexander Lev. Which was in July. Like, the kid has 5 matches, right? Something like that. But we got to pump the brakes here. Avery Styles had 2 more matches than the number of chairs he carried. Yeah, that sounds about right. I figured you have to have at least 3 at the minimum to get a cage match profile. I think it's 5. I honestly think it's 5. Yes, he has. I think he has barely more matches than you have, Kristen. Like he's fought Mathers twice, Alexander Lev, and I haven't seen anything else. I'm just doing the old DuckDuckGo searches. Like he's got nothing. This is a funny comment here. Avery should have used more chairs on Marcus Mather to meet his minimum daily requirement of paying his dues. That's kind of funny. We haven't done a cage match dumpster dive in a while, in a long time. Should do that sometime. But where were we? Yeah. No, I was just challenging this idea that that he has impressed many with sporadic independent appearances. I haven't seen any of his matches. So, I can't speak to it personally. I haven't seen any of his stuff. But what I have heard is that he's a good worker. He's solid, especially for his age. I haven't heard anyone say, I'm so impressed with his work. Anyone going, yeah, he's solid worker, good wrestler. But no one's going around, I'm so impressed. I haven't heard that. That's one word I haven't heard. In regards to Avery Styles. Worked a series of shows for GCW. He worked like 3 shows. I don't know. Are we going off the energy of Natty Neidhart here? Talking about how impressed she was with his work, he impressed Natty Neidhart, so we have impressed many people. I don't know. He debuted against Ashton Martin on June 26 at a Squared Circle action show. Ashton Martin at a Squared Circle action show. So he's got maybe 4 matches in his pocket. Apparently it's a lesser used definition, but sporadic can just mean rare. So not technically wrong. Fair. Hogan, as far as Kiera Hogan goes, has made her return to TNA on Sunday night, being the surprise teammate for Ali in a Knockouts World Tag Team Championship match. Hogan made a name for herself in TNA years back, wrestling for the brand from 2018 to 2021. She had 2 past runs with the tag titles during that time, defending alongside Tasha Steelz in Fire and Flava. The 31-year-old went on to sign with AEW in 2023. While she made frequent appearances in AEW and Ring of Honor programming, she dropped off the shows by mid-2024. Apart from a one-off independent booking in 2025, Hogan would go the next 2 years without wrestling. She dipped her toes into the reality TV world during that time, appearing as part of Joseline's Cabaret California on the Zeus network. Along with the 2 announced signings, it looks like TNA has also added independent vet Joe Alonzo to the roster. Alonzo won a dark match on Sunday against the hometown man in a bout where it was said he was competing for a TNA contract. Fightful Select previously reported that Alonzo having to deal with the company. Good for him, though. Good for Alonzo if he can get a little extra work. Listen, Kiera Hogan, really quickly. I mean, something happened in in the TK verse where she was just no longer considered. She did drop off in 2024. Everyone was like, well, where the fuck is she? What is she doing? She does that dopey reality show on that super duper obscure network that no one's ever heard about. And she shows back in TNA. And honestly, it's the perfect spot for her. It's the perfect spot, I think, for Kiera Hogan moving forward. I don't have many more thoughts than that other than good for her. I mean, Avery Styles is, the thing that of course is attracting everyone's attention. I mean, good for him. I mean, that's fine. I have no issues with this either way. I don't know. I'm struggling to have an opinion about it. The only opinion that I do have is that this was probably the smartest move for him overall, especially in retrospect of everything that happened. Because at this stage, with everything that happened, if he goes to indie shows, he's, the locker room, the people there are going to resent him. So, if he decides to jump the line, to skip the line and go straight to the majors without paying his dues, well, people are going to resent him too. So either way, he's going to be resented. So he might as well go to the place that is going to give him a steady paycheck despite the resentment. Whereas you go to the indies, you get resented, and you're working indie dates for an indie rate. Not necessarily sitting here saying that suddenly now he's making like this huge contract, he's making huge money with TNA. But seeing his last name, they're not going to pay him the bottom rate, is what I'm saying. Look, I mean, this was inevitable. This was going to happen. This is probably the best possible outcome that for him, a guy who doesn't want to, a guy who doesn't want to make things right, where he feels he doesn't have to make amends, I guess. Because the other thing he could have done is just go out on the indie circuit and make amends for it and have a run. It's like, go see Eric Cannon. It's like, brother, I'm sorry this got out of control. Shake his hand and pick up a couple of goddamn chairs while you're at it, right? That would have actually been the adult, mature thing to do. But instead, it's like, the attitude here is, well, fuck those guys. They don't deserve me. But then again, there is nothing, I would assume that there is nothing keeping him from going to work the indies while being signed with TNA. Because a lot of people can work independent dates while being contracted to TNA. Although Carlos can sort of spin that around whenever he wants. Nonetheless, like I said, he was going to be resented regardless. That's the thing. So he's like, okay, well, if people are going to shit on me, I might as well just skip the line. It doesn't matter. Then at least I'll get paid. That's a little bit of a shame. That's a little bit of a shame. But look, we'll see how it goes. I saw his promo. His I'm signed with TNA, and he's about as good a talker as his dad was. It's like, right? It's not as bad as a promo as Zilla Fatu, right? It's Zilla that debuted on NXT, right? It wasn't Lance. Lance is retiring. Zilla. And Zilla was trying way too hard. Zilla was cutting a promo as if he wasn't a pro wrestler, if that makes sense. Zilla was cutting a promo like when you're a kid and you're playing wrestler and you think you sound like a wrestler. That's how Zilla came across to me. He was coming across as a guy pretending to be a pro wrestler instead of being a pro wrestler. I thought it was very phony. But then again, it's, we're right into, it's that type of guy too. It's fine. Anyway, a little off track here, but yeah, I mean, look, I don't necessarily think this means that Avery Styles now he's like exclusive and and he's being locked into TNA and whatnot. And although he might, he might end up just wrestling there and never having a care anywhere else. But the potential, the possibility of him working other dates in other promotions and indie promotions is there. I mean, it's possible. So there's going to be a match early on that is going to have to do with chairs. Someone's going to throw him a chair. And he's someone's going to give him a chair and he's going to, no, I don't touch chairs. And everyone's going to go, ha, he did the thing, type of, just fine. It's pro wrestling. But boy, oh boy, they are going to lean into it during at least one match. And it's going to be really obnoxious. Whereas the thing that, look, had I been in his shoes, I would have sat down with Brett Lauderdale and say, okay, I have an idea to try and make a little money here for everyone. Let me go on a heel turn and we're doing the chairs and it'll pay off with the match with Eric Cannon. And then everyone makes a little money. You get a little buzz going and that helps your reputation, where at the very least they're like, well, at least he knows how to capitalize on things. But no one thinks that way in professional wrestling anymore. Or very seldom. Very precious little people think that way anymore. Anyway. So he signed with TNA and that's fine. If it wasn't TNA, it was going to be NXT. Either way. He's already hanging out with the second generation goofballs over there. But I will say to his defense, and I think I did mention this when we talked about it last week, but I'll bring it up again if I have. To his defense, what did anyone think a second generation wrestler was? Everyone going, oh, a Nepo baby, a Nepo baby. This has been the story of professional wrestling for decades at this point, for generations now. What do you think a second generation wrestler was? They just gave it they spruced up the name to make it look cool. So that it sounded interesting, Third generation wrestler, second, third, fourth generation wrestler. Wow. They're all Nepo babies. That's what they are. I don't know why it's such an issue with Avery Styles. I don't give a shit about that. I don't give a shit that there's a stable of guys in NXT that are second generation. I don't care. It doesn't matter. When Brian Pillman Jr. took that picture of himself with all the other second gen wrestlers over there at the Performance Center with Avery Styles in a show of solidarity, I was like, this sucks. Like, who cares? No one knows the struggles we went through and whatnot. Again, who cares? Who could possibly care? And the Flagship guys talked about it extensively last week in regards to no one knows how hard it's been for us, one of our parents never being around, and like, oh, that doesn't make you special. That's not a struggle that is just for you. A lot of people do, and I'm not necessarily talking about parents who separate and whatnot. Talking about, you know, parents who have to go on the road, not even go on the road, that have to work 2 jobs to try and support your ass. You know, it's not even a question of, oh, you know, he's always on the road. He's a truck driver. He's a traveling shoe salesman or whatever. Could be a guy working 2 jobs to support his family. And like they said, a kid like Avery Styles grew up in wealth. So the struggles, don't get me started on Avery Styles' struggles, okay? Pillman Jr., that's another set of circumstances. That's a little different with his mother, and, you know, it was all a little weird. I have sympathy for that. But Aaliyah Mysterio? Fuck off. When I talk about someone who lives in an estate, don't get me started here. And besides, second generation wrestlers, like I said, are just a dime a dozen in pro wrestling. There's a history of second generation wrestlers, and so I don't know why fans get upset. Oh, he's just a nepo baby. What do you think The Rock was? You know, what do you think The Rock was? They just use that when it's time to talk about wrestlers they don't like. But all second generation, third generation, fourth generation wrestlers, they're all nepo babies. Fit Finley's kids, nepo babies. It's all the same. It's all the same thing. It's always been that way. It will probably always be that way in pro wrestling on top of that. Anyway. Hey, Big Man Dogs, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. I don't care about a wrestler being second generation one way or the other. If they're good, they're good. And if they're bad, just like any other wrestler. Exactly. When you live through the era of terrible second generation wrestlers, like I'm drawing a blank. Like David Flair, or like what was his name? I'm drawing a complete blank. Vern Gagne's kid. Drawing a complete blank. You know, those guys who were not good wrestlers, whereas their fathers were tremendous wrestlers. You're like, how come they didn't get anything? Look at Ava Rain Johnson. A complete and utter dud. But she would have potentially been a third generation, right? She finally realized that she has no aptitude for pro wrestling, and good on her. Lacey Von Erich is the Von Erich grandkids. Well, the Von Erichs right now, they all stink. They're all bad. It was nice of Tony Khan to bring the Von Erichs in, you know, last year and do a few things with them in Ring of Honor, but they're all terrible wrestlers. They're all bad. Lacey stinks. They all stink. These are the fucking Von Erichs, you know what I mean? Like, as far as a dynasty in pro wrestling, right? Anyway. I remember thinking Ted DiBiase Jr. would be a demon just because of his dad. Look at Curtis Axel. You know, you're the son of Kurt Hennig, and you are the most average pro wrestler on earth, you know? You're just like average, you know, you're like, 6 out of 10 in all your stats. In every stat. And you're like, you're Kurt Hennig's kid. You know? And yet they all got jobs. And I continue to maintain, and as much as I have sympathy for the fucking ass childhood that Brian Pillman Jr. probably had, as much as I sympathize with that, as far as a professional wrestler goes, that guy is a sub-average pro wrestler. He is a perfectly acceptable guy who he would not have gotten a fraction of the opportunities that he did get had it not been for who his dad was. And how much the guys who were in charge, like the top guy, all felt bad for him, missed his dad, were friends of his dad, and made sure that he was looked after. If it wasn't for all these people, Brian Pillman Jr. would not be on our radar. He probably would have moved on to another career. Eric Watts. That's one that I was trying to figure. Eric Watts stunk. That was crazy. He was really bad. Anyway, little trip down memory lane of bad second generation wrestlers and whatnot. Anyway, my point being is that who cares about, like, the Nepo baby argument is stupid, because we have all accepted for years that second generation, third generation, fourth generation wrestlers exist and that they get into the business because of who their parents were. You know, like, no one bats an eye at the bloodline. Everyone gets excited when a new Samoan shows up. When a new Polynesian wrestler appears in WWE, they all get excited. They don't go, "Oh, there's another Nepo baby." You know, it's like, you're just picking and choosing at this point. Moving on. I think we're wrapping things up here, right? We're wrapping things up. Yeah, I want to just mention this before we go, because I think this is a nice bit of news. Post wrestling, once again, AEW has announced a show in France. What? AEW Grand Slam France. Like the sound of that. AEW Grand Slam France will take place at the Adidas Arena in Paris on October 6th. The company announced today, on Monday morning. France has a strong professional wrestling market supporting mainstream brands and its local independent companies alike. WWE has given the company an increased amount of attention in recent years, visiting Décines-Charpieu for Backlash in 2024 and returning last year for Clash in Paris at the gigantic Paris La Défense Arena. Now AEW is getting into the action with a show at the 9,000 seat capacity Adidas Arena, which opened in 2020. I think the seating is more around 8,000 estimated that we're sort of putting together. We're not wrong here saying 9,000, but I think the estimation for the capacity with your production kills and stages and video boards and whatnot, it'll bring it down to about 8,000 estimated. So Grand Slam France lands on a Tuesday, an unconventional day of the week for AEW to hold a card. It's unclear at the moment what the show's broadcast plans are. AEW's Grand Slam series has taken the product around the world. Past shows have taken them to Australia and Mexico. And they're selling the tickets on Friday, so that'll be an interesting one to track. That'll be a very interesting one to track. Yeah, I mean, good for them. Good for them that they're reaching out and trying a little more, trying to get into more international markets. I think that's a good idea. There is a French presence on there is an AEW presence on French television in France. Norbert Feuillant, friend of the show, who is the lead commentator. I think he runs solo on top of that. Don't quote me on this, but I think he runs the show solo. He's a tremendous guy on top of that. So he's been making sure that the dubs happen. The thing that's curious is I believe that there's a bit of a delay. I don't know how long of a delay it is. I'd probably have to ask Norbert, but I think there's a delay between a significant delay between when it's aired on in the US live. I think it's like 4 or 5 days later, which is not an insignificant amount of time. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you exactly how that's going to work out. Otherwise, yeah, it's on a Tuesday. Do you think that maybe they will tape? Well, I mean, they will obviously tape it in the afternoon here in for us here in North America. Will it be something that they'd want then to broadcast on a Tuesday evening? Isn't this the time of year in October? Isn't this the time of year where they start where AEW starts getting moved around because of the Major League Baseball playoffs? Isn't that kind of the World Series? Are we deep in the World Series at that point? But I feel like this is like the kind of time. This is the time that AEW starts doing that. So maybe they were like, well, why don't we pack up, go to France, get ourselves another little exposure and a little Grand Slam success, and come home. And I think the choice of the venue is a tremendous idea. 8,000 to 9,000 people. I think they fill it out. I think they absolutely pack up the stadium, arena. Excuse me. I think it. They might not be filling up, a bigger arena, but for their first time there, they go there, they pack it up. They're going to get first-time people who are going to be excited to see the show for the first time, to get AEW in the country for the first time. So, that'll all work. That venue is going to be packed. It's going to be packed with people, and it's going to be a great gate for AEW, I'm sure, at the same time. And I think it's very interesting that they're going a little harder on international dates as well. I think that's very, very interesting. They'll probably do the Grand Slam Australia again. Maybe there's a very fair chance that this becomes a regular spot on the calendar. We did the Arena Mexico show twice. We've done Australia twice. Maybe we're going to start doing France, twice as well. No Grand Slam Quebec City. Just putting that out there. We're not international enough. We're not international enough. Because we can get bullied with tariffs, so we're not international enough. But look, to me, this is very, very interesting. And clearly there seems to be an appetite abroad for AEW, despite it not having the greatest coverage. I don't know if there's some kind of data that I think they there's probably some kind of data maybe getting reported back to Tony Khan and his crew in regards to the amount of subscriptions to myaew.com. This is not necessarily a shot in the dark here. I think I'm assuming that there's a good enough read of the situation here to say, yeah, can we get 8,000 people into a building and they feel confident enough to do it? I think the show is absolutely going to sell out. I think people are going to be very excited about it. I think they're going to be very excited to see AEW for the first time in their hometown, and in Paris. Well, no sweat, no lack of people in Paris, in the greater Paris area either. So good for them trying that out. Makes you wonder where else they want to go, where else they want to try things out. Because France has always been a good pro wrestling environment. It's always been good. And I think if anything, I think WWE has shown that it's a little underserved, maybe, as far as the big time shows go. there's definitely there's material here. There's stuff here to make it happen, and I think it's okay. I think it's good, in fact, that AEW continues to try some stuff out internationally, and yet somehow we're going to still have discussions. You know, like I said, this show will probably sell out, and people are still going to talk about how AEW is losing and is not not successful. When these kind of things happen, it's like the standard for victory is unattainable and preposterous in the first place. You know, the only way to be successful is to beat WWE. That doesn't make sense. But we're going to have these discussions. Oh, they can only put 8,000 people in a building. First time in France, and they pack up the building. I mean, if they draw 400 people, we're going to have another discussion. Believe you me, but they won't. AEW is a successful promotion. I don't know who needs to hear this. It's a successful promotion. It is a very successful promotion. It is the most successful promotion that we've had in years. Years, decades. Right behind WWE. So it's good. I all of this is good. I'm very interested to see how things move forward here. And maybe they'll do a tribute to Edouard Carpentier on top of that, which will go better than the one for the Rougeos. It'll definitely go better than the one with the Rougeos. Carpentier's dead. He's not around anymore. So what can he do? WXW is also a partner, I think, or Mercedes held the title. I don't think she held the WXW World Championship, the Women's Championship. Not WXW. Hang on. Double check. Let's double check. She won so many. She won so many, you know. Let's see here. No, she did not. She did not win the WXW title. She won the Rev Pro British title. Germany, big top. Well, I mean, I've got her list here right before my eyes. Right before my eyes. She had the APAC Wrestling, Bestia Wrestling, Body Slam. Then she had, of course, the CMLL title. Then she had the Scottish Women's Championship then for Discovery Wrestling, the European Wrestling Association, Independent Wrestling Entertainment, Primetime Wrestling. She had the Rev Pro, Ring Wars Carolina. Don't think that's in the same run here. Winnipeg Pro Wrestling, and yeah. The EWA Women's Championship. The Elite Wrestling Alliance. Yeah. She lost the European Wrestling Association Women's Championship to Mila Smith in Dreux, France during a BZW.Rixe event on March 14, 2026. So there you go. It has, it's all confusing. Speaking of baseball, I wonder if Brawl at the Ballpark is AEW playing with the idea of trawling some of the fans who are already going to a big sporting event into heading to AEW afterward. Of course. But like it's also fun to have that there. You know, if people still go to baseball games with the kids, you get there and you have a ring and you've got all these colorful characters bouncing around and the Lucha Libre guys flying around. I mean, it's a fun time. And that's how you create brand awareness. It's a great idea, in fact. I think AEW running a branded show in Spain could be smart because Spain hasn't got a branded show yet. It's true. AEW does underperform internationally compared to WWE, but that's even more of a reason to run these kind of shows to grow in Europe. Exactly. If you don't go into the markets, you won't grow. It's just as simple as that. Oh, you mean like a Dynamite or Collision afterward? Well, I mean, you mean like after the game is what you mean? Like, do you go, like you finish the baseball game. You're like, hey, let's go to a wrestling show after. Is that something you do? I don't know. I would, because I'm a psychopath, but what does everyday Joe guy do? Average Joe. Grand Slam Berlin. That'd work. I feel something like Ospreay versus Darby or Takeshita would be a good main event for this show. Sure. I think you want to save. I think we're hanging on to Ospreay versus Takeshita. No, Ospreay versus Takeshita would be a good idea. Yeah. I think that would be very, very good, actually. All right. There you go. We're going to wrap it up tonight, folks. Head on down that old dusty trail. Oh, for your information, folks, breaking news. Big Cass tonight scored the victory over Javon Evans. When does the summer end? Where are we on? I think we're going to be on fraud. We're going to be on fraud watch moving forward because Paul Heyman said something to the effect that if Javon Evans is not an attraction in WWE by the end of the summer, we fucked up, right? Something to that effect. And he said, we're not going to mess up Javon Evans. Well, you're doing a pretty good job. The big cast there. Coming in and taking down Javon Evans. And this is not a knock against Big Cass. You all know what I'm saying here. So there we go. We're going to wrap it up for today. Mike McCullough, nice to see you. Welcome. Thanks for saying hello. Appreciate the thanks. Thank you. Member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel on top of that. So let's wrap it up. We're done for now. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like before heading on out, that would be tremendous. I appreciate it tremendously. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. If it's your first time here, become a member. Go nuts. I will be back Thursday with another stream. If I'm not back Thursday, there's a problem. There's a severe problem, but I should be back. I'll be back on Thursday with another live stream for more live wrestling chitter chatter. Hope you enjoyed it tonight. I sure did. Hope you will too. Thank you everyone for being here. Have a great rest of your week on top of that. I'll see you next time.